Okay, that's 595 miles, so it's almost 600 miles. So I'm going to kind of tell you my thoughts on the 300L after 600 miles, okay? The 300L after 600 miles is a good little bike. As I approached about 300 miles, I could see that it started getting just a little bit quicker because I was braking in, getting some miles on it. Okay, every bike's got to have a brake in, and I imagine by the time this thing gets 1,000 miles or 1,500, it'll be even better yet. But you got to give bikes a chance to break in. Okay, the 300L, is it a beginner bike? No, it is not. And yes, it is. And no, it's not. Okay, I know that sounds like a contradiction. Well, here's the deal. Now, to somebody that has rode motorcycles quite a bit and are used to something that's got a little more power, this thing is not a wow bike, okay? But you take somebody that has never ridden or hadn't ridden very much, this bike is easy to ride. So, but yet by the same token, it's not a dog, it's not a pig, okay? So, you know, if you haven't got that much experience on a bike and you get out there and you go gagging on this thing, you're gonna bust your ass, okay? Because it's got enough power, it'll get away from you. But yet, like I said, if you've rode for a while and you've got some road miles behind you and a couple of years experience, it's not gonna wow you. It's not a Hayabusa, and it's not a, you can't put your, it's not gonna put your chin down on the crossbars there and make your right old pucker and pin your ears back beside your head. It just won't do it. It's not that fast. Now, with that being said, it's a very user-friendly bike. It is easy to handle, and it's easy to get used to. And that's the key. You've got to get used to it. Doesn't matter what bike you get, you've got to get used to it. You've got to blend, you've got to mold, you've got to become part of that bike. You've got to know what that bike will do, and you've got to know what you can do on that bike, okay? It's just like I said before, it's almost like marriage. It's a partnership. And I've seen a lot of people do reviews on the CRF 300, and they always talk about, I want to change this, and I want to change that, and there's nothing wrong with changing things to make it fit you, okay? Fit your personality. But my way of thinking is, this bike, it's not a super fast, it's not a super powerhouse, but if people say, well, I want a little more speed, I want a little more power, I want a little more of this, I want a little more of that, then why didn't you buy the 450? Okay, this thing I know is smogged up, and as far as making this motor more efficient, and if you can open up the air box and maybe get rid of that overflow evaporation system, the pollution shit, that's fine, okay? But as far as performance goes, if you want more performance, I guess that's all right too. But it's like, why did you buy the 300? Why didn't you buy the 450? Okay, that's kind of what I thought. But anyway, this bike. And I was talking about this bike it's easy to ride, and it is. But one thing about it is, would I recommend this bike as a first bike to somebody that's just starting riding? No, I would not. And you're going, well, why not? You just said it was easy to ride. It is. But if I was going to recommend a bike, first of all, I'd recommend you go to TSC or Rural King and buy one of those Cushman scooters and learn how to ride on that. Okay, that would be what I'd recommend. And then maybe get you a dirt bike, or you get you a small dirt bike to begin with. That's what I would recommend. But now, as far as bikes that are easy to ride, this bike here, it's a nice bike, and it's not the unicorn bike. It's a unicorn bike for me, but it's not a unicorn bike for everybody. The reason why it's a unicorn bike for me, it does just exactly what I want to do with it. Okay. With that being said, like I said, I did change the handlebars, and I'm thinking about doing something with that smog shit on there. But outside of that, I'm not going to change the ECU unit. I'm not going to change this gearing on it. I'm not going to change nothing else because the way it's set up right now, it's perfect for me, for what I want to do it with. It's a small adventure bike. That's what I'm using it for. Now, I've seen people take these on single track and all this kind of stuff. Now here's where this bike, the way it's set up, has a little bit of a shortcoming, and I'll explain that. It has off-road capabilities, and it will do some off-road gravel roads like this, and you can do some light-duty single track. Okay. Now where it falls short on that is it has a 57-inch wheelbase. I think it's 57.4, something like that. And so that means that it's 57 inches between axle to axle, and it's a little sluggish in steering. Versus like an XT250. The XT250 has a 53-inch wheelbase. It's almost 5 inches shorter, okay? And it's more responsive in the dirt, in quick turns and stuff. Look it up, look at the specs. You know, but like I said, the XT250, as far as tight turning, handles 10 times better than this thing does. That 5 inches makes a world of difference. But see there again, use this bike for what it was designed for. It was designed to do a little bit of, get off here, off the beaten path, get out here and do some light duty dirt. That's what it was made for. It was also made to get out there on the highway there and run 65 miles an hour. Okay, well now with that being said, here again, I would not recommend taking this bike and going out there and running 65 miles down the highway. Because when you pass the semi running 65 miles an hour, it's going to blow you all over the road. It's only 300 some pounds. It's light, okay? Doesn't hold the road well. Now, if you slow down and you run about 45, 50 miles an hour, it ain't near as bad. So here again, I've mentioned this before, the windability of this bike is, it's good, but it's not great. Above 50 miles an hour, it's not great. You know, like a 10 mile an hour crosswind, you'll feel it, you'll know it. So, and that's what I'm saying. Pick the bike for what you want to do. Don't get caught up in the hype and horse shit about, you know, all these reviews. Everybody's saying, oh, this is a great bike for this, that's a great bike for that. That's their opinion, and this is all my opinion. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I'm trying to get you to think about things that you normally wouldn't think about. Wheelbase is one of them. If you're going to do some, you know, single tracking, stuff like this, the shorter your wheelbase, the better off you are. Up to a point. Everything always has, you know, a breaking point. But windability, this is a great little bike. You know, I'm not bitching about it. I love this bike. I just ride the living shit out of it. So it's a great little bike. That's all I can say about it. There are a couple things I did to raise my handlebars. Like I said, I will change that smog stuff, and I am, and to me it does idle a little bit low. That's the only drawback I can see. It idles just a little bit low when you're going at a real low speed in first gear. It don't stall, but it's just RPM too low. I can fix that. But anyway, I just want to kind of give you an idea of the my 600 mile review on the XL 300L. I love it. For what I bought this bike for, it's perfect. Okay, but I'm not going to take off and go on a 500 mile trip unless I give myself plenty of time to do it. I'm not going to try to get out there and run this thing at 65 and 70 miles an hour down the highway. I'm just not going to do it. Okay, for number one, it's light and it'll beat you to death. Number two, the seat's real hard. The seat on this bike is better than they had on the stock 250Ls, and it's better than the seat they've got on the XR 650L. This seat's a little bit wider, it's a little more comfortable, but it is hard. So be forewarned. And as far as a concept seat, I don't think the seat concept seat on this bike would make much difference. Now I do have a seat concept on my 250, and I love it. Okay, But for the cost of buying a new seat, because this one here, as far as the way it's made, is good. I'm going to put one of those Mad Dog seat covers on it, and which I have one of them on my XT, and I have one on my Tannery, and it makes a world of difference for 20 bucks. So you do what you want. But anyway, here it is, 600 miles, CRF 250 or 300L. For what I do with it, it's the perfect bike. But like I said, that ain't saying whenever I get out on the 650L, that ain't the perfect bike for what I want to do with it, because every bike has a purpose. Every bike is different, and the reason why you have different bikes is because your mood is different. You're not in the same mood all the time. So that's why multiple bikes is great. But anyway, the 300L, I love it. Oh, and here's another thing. They talk about the tires on this thing. They are IRCs, and are they great tires? Depends on what you're doing with them. And the tires is just like picking the right bike. Got to pick the right tire for what you're going to do. These things here run down the highway. They do good. They make a little noise, but they do good. And I did notice they was recommended 25 pounds of air in the rear, and it was too much. I dropped it down to 20, and it made a world of difference. It handled better. The front was recommended, I think it's 20 or something like that, and I dropped it a little bit. Makes a world of difference. So everybody say, well, you're in a little bit flat. They handle different, especially in gravel. But anyway, the tires, if you want, if you're going to do a lot of off-road riding, well, yeah, put better tires on it, okay? If you're going to do all street riding, put better tires on it, yeah. But for all-around general purpose of what this bike was designed for, these tires work great. The suspension, everybody bitches about the suspension. If it's a little soft for you, I weigh about 180, 190 pounds, whatever, something like that. And for me, it's great. You can always put more preload tension on your rear shock, which can take part of the sag out of there. And you can make it a stiffer ride. Or you can go out there and spend $300 or $400 or $1,000, whatever it is, and buy new shock and all. It's up to you. But I'm just saying, if you don't have pockets full of money, there's things that you can do. You can do the preload on that and just different things. For what this bike was designed for, it's perfect. Now, when you get out of if you get out of that realm of what it was actually designed for, then you're going to see its shortcomings. And it has many of them. Like if you want a street racer, it ain't going to do it. If you want a dirt bike, it ain't going to do it. If you want I don't know, a cruiser, it ain't going to do it. This is a dual purpose, okay? It's a dual sport. For what it was designed for, it works great. Anyway, that's kind of my view, and I love it, okay? I love it. And any of the shortcomings that I'm not happy with, I can change that. So, but anyway, the bike, as far as I'm concerned, it's a great bike. So, I guess that's enough of that. Hey, ride safe, ride free.